then speak to your motion as printed on page 103 of the agenda.
Yes, please, Madam Mayor. Thank you. Madam Mayor, we call on Thurrock Council to write to the Secretary of State to express many residents' views that in its present state, the police service contact number 101 is not fit for purpose. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Now, below statement is a brief history of when and why the 101 service was first set up. As stated, it was to take the pressure off the 99 service number and to report what police classed as minor crimes such as car thefts, antisocial behaviour, criminal damage and minor road accidents. And I can understand the thinking behind the idea. A short while after this service was set up, at a cost of £41 million, it was abandoned for a while, and it was stated that people were misusing the service. But in the early days, people were at least getting through to the police. Remember, this 101 police contact number also replaced your local police station telephone number. Now, Madam Mayor, it's been a very busy time around Stamford and Corringham this summer. We've had used driving around in cars, in front of houses, on parks. In one particular area of Corringham, they're driving up and down the road on the bonnets of the cars into the early hours of the morning. Now, I knocked on all the doors, most of the doors of this particular area, and I said to the residents, have you reported this to the police? And they said, you know, we've given up phoning the 101 number. We're getting fed up. We're sitting on there between 20, 30, 40, up to an hour at times. Now, it can't be right in this day, in this high-tech day and age, to be on a phone for up to an hour to report crimes to police. It just isn't right. And what message does this send to all these unruly youths? They know what's going on and they're just being left to carry on committing the crime. At present, we've got 3 youths going around Stamford and Corringham, and basically they're stealing in the shops. They're going in there, they're being abusive to customers. We all know about this in our area. And it's just stealing, and I've been to these shops and they say, we dial 101, the time they turn up, if they turn up, the youths are gone and started to commit crime elsewhere. So, Madam Mayor, the 101 police service contact number, I feel, is not fit for service in its present state in the 21st century and has to be addressed to be made into a service that all residents feel confident they can use to report crime. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that motion seconded? Councillor Snell? Do you wish to speak now or reserve your right?
I'm reserved my right, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members that wish to speak? Councillor Gledhill.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will be supporting this motion wholeheartedly. They say that roads of hell is paved with good intentions, and this is certainly it. The idea is to take the pressure off of the 999 service, absolutely the right thing to do. Centralising certain things within the police, again, the right thing to do. You need general advice, invariably rather than specific advice. However, we've seen operators of this service give out incorrect advice, saying that actually this antisocial behaviour is the council's problem, it's not the police's problem. I'm sorry, driving motorcycles dangerously on parks, on the footway, is a police issue. It's not a council issue, it's solely a police issue. Passing the buck in the way that's happened has put residents' backs up, and they think no one cares. Because as soon as they come to councillors, we say, actually, this isn't a council issue, this is a police issue. We've discussed this many, many times. It doesn't matter if you're from Chadwell, from Stamford, from Thurrock, Rectory or Blackshots or Waverley. This is a problem across the board. And this is not, you know, when everyone's getting that same kind of message, it's going to lead to 2 things. People give up calling it, the intelligence doesn't get to the police, people start taking action themselves. That's very, very wrong. That's a slippery slope. And the police will end up with twice as much work dealing with the victims that are turned into perpetrators, and that cannot happen. Whilst that's somewhat extreme, and I'm sure when we've all sat on the phone for 20, 30, sometimes 45 minutes saying, this is happening in my ward because I've just been told it was happening outside my flat on one occasion, you just give up, and that's wrong. But we can't rely on it going online either, as I know the Police and Crime Commission wishes to do. So yeah, 100% support this, and it needs to happen.
Thank you. Councillor Cherry.
I might get lynched here, but I shall try and perhaps defend Essex Police partially if I can. The 101 service is designed really to report things that are historic. You know, it's a tool to report things either over the telephone or online. A lot of people do this online, so you don't have to hang on the phone for ages. It can be done online. If something serious is happening, then you should consider using the 999 service. But here again, the main problem we've got is the resources to respond. There have been massive cutbacks, and we can blame certain people for the cutbacks and for reasons why we have cutbacks. But the police are juggling their resources constantly. And were you to dial 999 or to dial 101, you would probably get the same length of time that you're waiting. So if something is happening, and it is serious enough, consider 999. If something has happened, then the 101 service is what that's designed for. And you, as I said, you can do that online also. But what we have got, I'm afraid to say, our police resources have been cut back quick. Now there's one party sitting here in government that is doing that, and they are cutting back resources. We've seen things happen like the playground equipment has been burned, set fire to 30 grand worth of playground equipment. Our libraries have been attacked, vandalised. We've got other public buildings being attacked and vandalised because we haven't got that visible police presence that we used to have. To go along with that also, police stations have been closed. Now the way to solve this is more resources to the police. I'm afraid, unless we reinvest in the police service again, we are going to have a situation where we're going to be in fear of the kids and the vandals out there, because they're going to be stronger than us. They're going to see the lack of police resources. And you can dial 999 or you can dial 101. If there's no one there to respond to the call, then I'm afraid you're going to have chaos.
Councillor Bolton-Carey. Hi, yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to sort of echo mainly a lot of what Councillor Thurrock said, and also some of what Councillor Cherry said to do with police cuts. We do know that they have caused the police a huge amount of trouble over since 2010 in terms of their ability to be able to respond. I'd also echo some of what Councillor Thurrock said about 101 and particularly online reporting. When I was portfolio holder for public protection, it was one of the things that got raised with me pretty constantly at local community forums and community groups about people just not seeing the value in reporting via 101. And I did my absolute level best as when I was portfolio holder to try to emphasise the way the model of policing that the police had adopted to do with data. And, you know, you just got to call again, get everyone on your street to call, you know, because you have to get enough data to make sure that there's a hotspot appearing on their computer system. And that's not what people wanted to hear, but I'm afraid it was the reality of the situation. The problem with 101, however, is, as Councillor Ledhill says, if people aren't getting a response, they're not going to call it. They're going to actually call it quits. And I have to say, I do think 101 has significant problems. I've very rarely been to a meeting where it's been brought up and anyone has had anything positive to say. But I did bring this up on a couple of occasions at when I attended the Essex Police and Crime Panel in Chelmsford as well. And the police kind of give you that sort of, yeah, we know there are problems, but, you know, we're looking into it type of answer. You can report online. For a lot of my residents, that just doesn't work. They're not online. They don't have that kind of easy access. So I will be supporting the motion. Councillor Gerard Rice.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, certainly on this one, Councillor Cherry is absolutely correct. It's the party opposite that cut the police. When I was last on the police authority, we had 3,600 police officers. November 12th. I think how marvellous that was. Today, we're down to 2,800, and under the new Conservative cuts, that will go to 2,400. Really, where we should have 4,000 police posts in Essex, and we can fund them. We need to fund them. And historically, what has happened is that on the police authority, the Conservatives always had the whip hand, and what they'd done was they voted for small increases. So Essex Police Authority started from a very low base, and we have these problems. Now, not only is it good to, increase police numbers, but, let's have a look what other things that the Conservative Crime Commissioner and the Chief Constable have done. They've shut Corringham, Tilbury and South Ockenden police stations. These are access points for the public to go to. And it's no good saying, oh, well, not many people go to the front desk and what have you. These are vital community assets. And yet they've just said, no, we don't need them, we'll throw them all away. And several councillors have mentioned it. The latest thing is, iPads are marvellous things, but most older people do not have them. There are some people, believe it or not, can't afford to have them. Some people don't have computers in their home. So when the police, the Chief Constable and the Crime Commissioner glibly says report crime online, it's not the answer. The 101 system was introduced by the Labour government in 2006. Crime is actually reducing. Now it's going up. It's going up. There are evidence to suggest it is going up. And when we start cutting police numbers so drastically, and Essex is just one, if you look all round the country, we have a problem. And the Conservatives need to increase police resources. That's the only way you're going to tackle crime.
Councillor Redstone. Thank you, Madam Mayor. We've got to stop blaming each other for what's going on. I think the motorbike issue is a big issue in Thurrock. The 101, I always support the motion, but I've never had any trouble ringing 101. But I think it has to work a lot smarter, 101, if we're going to take it, because the residents are losing trust in it not being logged. And I think the ability for the police to chase the motorbike, they have a motorbike team they can use. So they can chase the motorbikes and take them. And they have done a lot, I will admit. They have taken quite a few bikes and they have done a few charges. But I think with 101, it has to work smarter, it has to be better at it. And I agree with Gerard down there, but I think we have a lot of elderly population who do not have computers and do not have phones. And I think that's their only way of getting through to the police is 101. And I don't agree with Councillor Cherry that we should ring 999, because I think that fails up something that may be very important for people to use 9994. So I think with the motorbike issue, we brought a motion a little while back, and nothing really has been done since that motion. So it's something we're probably bringing back to full council. Thank you. Councillor Watkins.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, I'd just like to comment, actually, I've seen kind of the best and bad sides of the 101 service. I've seen the good sides, actually. Funny enough, a similar issue in Hannibal, where a resident phoned up kind of concerned, and they actually had many problems with the 101 service. But on that particular day, I rang on their behalf and actually managed to get a police officer out to deal with the issue at the time, in quite 5 minutes' time, going through and actually having someone out, which was actually a good side of it. But we've obviously seen the very bad sides of it, where people are waiting for a long period of time on the phone, and obviously sometimes they're not actually getting called back or documented back once the issue has been logged. Obviously share a couple of councillors' points as well in regards to the elderly. Not everyone has access to the internet or iPads, computers, etc. So this is important to remember, but there's still a large population, percentage of the population, but do require using the 101 service over the phone, hence why it does need to be improved heavily. And lastly, I'd just like to comment as well, just doing a little bit of information on the internet, it does look like crime stats have been going down quite heavily since 2010. And when you compare the proportion of 1997 to 2010 under the previous governments and the Labour, actually the percentage of it going down is a lot further. So I'd just like to make that point.
Councillor
Yeah, just on that last point, there was a report from which I mentioned when the police came here, which said that what they found that 1 in 5 crimes weren't even being recorded properly by the police. So you've got to remember that the crime figures historically are total nonsense.
Yes.
They really absolute nonsense, and they're made worse by this 101 service because let's face it, the police have entirely withdrawn almost from public spaces. You know, their interaction face to face with people, or their interaction with the public is reduced to such a ridiculous extent that that again clouds the actual real amount of crime that's going on. So it's not just no crime reports, it's the fact that people can't contact me and don't bother to report crimes. I know that I've had a conversation, and it's something that this council should look for as well. I've had conversations with one person about this. Keep that face-to-face contact. And when you start withdrawing to internet or phone services, you completely lose touch with how, you know, the extent of the actual problem. So I will be supporting this motion. 101's completely and utterly unfit for what it is.
Councillors, it's 9:15. I need to ask, do you want to move a motion to suspend council procedure rule 11.1 to continue? So we just continue, it comes to 9:30, we take the other motions, vote immediately, yeah? Okay. Next person to speak is Councillor Rice. Councillor Barbara Rice, sorry.
The one that doesn't talk so much about history. Never know, I may surprise. Right, okay, well, I don't know where some councillors are actually living, but it doesn't sound as if they are living in Thurrock, because crime is on the increase. If you speak to your neighbours, you go to your forums, you live in the area, you will hear all of the time our discussions where we live is around arson, serious crimes, not petty crimes, barns being set alight last weekend, our bins being set on fire. We've got a big problem with fire setting in Chapel. And do you know what? People are not reporting it. I speak to the residents at the forum all the time, walking around. They don't report it because of the idea that it's not dealt with properly. 101 is a complete farce, and 999, if you call them, it's another farce indeed. A lot of times they're not coming out until the next day or the day after that. A lot of our residents are frightened to go out, and that's borne out by our surveys that we do about people feeling unsafe in their homes. When we do our social service surveys, people are feeling unsafe and they don't feel safe. So I will be supporting this motion, and I think we've got to get real and realise if we're not seeing bobbies on the beat, what do you talk about to your residents? All the time they say to you, we never see a police officer around here, we've got motorcyclists revving up, and we've got thefts from cars, we've got robberies, we've got people having their sheds robbed, and we say we haven't got a problem with crime increasing in Thurrock. Absolute balderdash, because people are not reporting it. That's why the figures look less, and I will be supporting this motion.
Thank you. Councillor Coxon.
I agree with you, the crime figures from the police claims is obviously reported. We're having this motion tonight because people are not reporting enough crime. But let's ignore the police's figures. Let's just, if you want to, just accept they're not, people are not reporting. There's anecdotal evidence they can't report, you never get any police, vice versa, and that becomes a boiling prophecy, really. Let's talk about the National Crime Survey. That's what this government uses now. So if you ignore the police figures, the National Crime Survey is an important survey because that proactively asks people, and that shows dramatic drops year on year in since 2010. What you get again is very much like the schools. We increase the Ofsted to make it harder. We increase the education of the teachers. We increase the quality of the schooling, and then everyone says, oh, stats go down. They've actually got better. What we're doing here is targeting good policing. Not, yes, everyone likes it, it looks nice, and you see this lady that's never had a crime in a road, and then there's a policeman there walking down there. But what we've got to do is targeting. I agree with what the police are doing. I agree that they've got to decide the targeting. Is targeting not working in Thurrock? I agree with you. Yeah, it needs tightening up, and we need to actually do something in that. And that is because they're Essex Police and their combine harvester collected. That doesn't happen. We need to sort it out here. But that doesn't mean to say that there's cuts. What that means to say is it's the inappropriate use of funding. Yeah? Because there was no cut last year and it's not carried on with a 3-year supply. That the government cancelled. But the National Crime Survey is important. And then the last point is, yes, we do hear it. This is perceptions of crime. But it goes on because you lot just keep going, it's terrible, it's terrible. And we keep going, it's terrible, and in the end, it is terrible. We've got to stop it. That's it.
To a certain extent, I agree with your perception, and sometimes that does not tally with reality. But I'm thinking that if we are considering increasing businesses in the general area, increasing households, then unfortunately crime statistics do appear on the internet. You can Google them, and regrettably some people say, well, hold on a minute, that looks a bit, and oh, I don't know if I want to go there. And it may not even be realistic, but if we keep ringing and the computer statistics build up, a lot of people can interpret that data rightly or wrongly. So generally speaking, I would be supporting this because we need to think of the future to attract businesses, households here, and it may be a perceived feeling whereby crime is increasing. It may even conflict with realism, but it's how people feel, and as Councillor has said, if you move out the door, you feel unsafe. If you feel that you're perhaps mugged, the chances of being mugged might be very slim, but 100% if you are mugged. And it's a situation like that where, yes, we've got to show that we are serious in this and show that we are definitely going to do our best to safeguard future potential. Thank you.
Councillor Snell, wish to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's a sort of a theme developing tonight. I noticed that sort of this side of the chamber seems to want to talk about Thurrock and Thurrock people, and that side of the chamber wants to talk about national issues. It's funny, when the going gets tough, national will do. But as has been said previously, we're here to support the people of Thurrock, and what they're doing nationally, I'm not really too bothered about. Lots have been said about the 101 shortcomings. Now, I think Councillor Redsall said it, is that first and foremost, we have to have trust in the police. If we don't have trust in the police, then everything falls apart. And as Councillor Cherry said, we'll have chaos in the streets in no time at all. The police had been, and used to be, the most trusted service out there, I'd say, arguably. But over time, that's eroded. And as Councillor Spillman said, the police have withdrawn so much now that really the only contact people get with police is if they ring 999 or if they ring 101. And we've all been to the forums where the police come in and say, look, if you ring 101, what will happen is, if you're lucky, if you ring, we'll build up a profile of crime, and then we'll come out and we'll deal with that. But the reality is, people are ringing 101, but nothing is happening. So the trust in that service is evaporating away. So now people either, well, they don't bother half the time to do it anymore. I was at a public meeting recently in Stifford Place, where there was a spate of antisocial behaviour. Lots of cars were being damaged and people were being, you know, not attacked, but they were being harassed and harangued. And everybody in that room, and there were about sort of 30 people in that room, were saying they had run 101, 101 constantly, and nothing happened. Now, there was a lot of ladies in that room, and what they were saying is, why should we let these Herberts run around damaging our cars? Why can't our men go out there and solve the problem? Because if the police won't, our men can. Now the police are in that room and said, well, you can't do that because that's breaking the law. And the argument was made, well, you're not doing it. So why, if they're breaking the law, we can break the law? Because we're protecting our property and they're damaging our property. What's the difference? And this is the situation we get into. This is why this service needs to change. We're not talking about abolishing it necessarily. It's coming up with something better than this. Because if people lose trust in the police, then, as Councillor Cherry said, we will have chaos out there. People will start to take the law into their own hands. The police have got to be seen to be doing their jobs. And at the moment, they're not. And it's not their fault. They've got very limited resources. And the more you take the resources away, the less you're going to see them. Now, I put it to you that we cannot afford to have the public lose trust and faith in our police force. And by at least getting this thing sorted will will go a long way to re-establishing a bit of that trust which has been evaporating away for quite some time now. So I will be supporting the motion, needless to say.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Jones, do you wish to sum up, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As Councillor Apothecary stated, at forum, residents and shop traders meetings, this is the most common complaint made by residents. Now, people live very busy lives these days, and they haven't got time to spend up to an hour on the police contact number 101 to report crimes. Residents need to feel secure that they can contact the police in a short space of time, and that some response will be implemented as to bring law and order into the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Right, we're now going to go to the vote. So, all those in favour of the motion, please raise your hands. That's carried. Thank you. Right. Motion.